Cavecast, the uncensored show for nerds of all kinds.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cavecast. This week, we're doing another questions episode. We did one a while ago when we were testing out just like, okay, like, what if we just go into the studio and do this? Also, we kind of had a rough night that night, so it was cool to just be able to do a podcast kind of with a lot of freedom and not a lot of stress. Yeah. So similar things have happened this week, but I think, for the better, we actually did start up, doing gaming, and something that we really wanted to do for a while. And that's kind of taken some time, and it's nuts. It's, being able to know that we have multiple things that we can do now and just trying to balance all of it. It's kind of a fun process, but there's going to be an easier way to balance things moving forward because Erica, something big has happened for you today, and go ahead and tell them what's going on.
So today was my last day of work. I no longer work for Samsung. YouTube is basically my full-time job now. And, the circumstances that I have, that it's able to work for me, and I'm very grateful. So it's awesome. I get to be a stay-at-home dad now. Yeah,
it's so wild. It's just seeing the change in the process and how everything has happened. This is what we've dreamed about and what we've talked about. And being able to do stuff. So we're really hoping that, with the time that we didn't have before, because usually what it was that I would wait till you got home around 6 p.m. in the week, even on the weekends. And that's when we would get started on Riker Road, and that's when we would get started on everything else. So who knows what's going to happen? I'm blown away that it's even happening, and the fact that we've, been able to do what we've done. It's just nuts. But nevertheless, that's kind of the lay of the land tonight of our lives of what's going on. And we figured that we would just go ahead and dive in and get some questions answered. So for the first question we have from Anxiety, which is a very interesting username to boot. But Anxiety asks, what's a song on your personal playlist that you would be embarrassed to tell others is on it? And I definitely have one. And
I got one.
We were kind of talking beforehand, and it's, to be very, very honest, we're not embarrassed by much.
Not really.
I
kind of had to force this one a little bit, but I'm like, oh yeah, I guess so. But
yeah, I kind of have a good reason to be worried or embarrassed, just because it is the furthest thing from what you were expecting. So I could not tell you when I found this song, but the song that I have either cried to, or I've just oh my God, you'll understand it's not that big of a deal, but it's it's oh, this is so beautiful. It's so good. And I shouldn't like it because it's almost kind of country and pop. Oh, am I allowed to do this? There's been times I've taken drives and I've blasted it and I'm like, this isn't me. What am I doing? But I love it.
Jesus,
and
what is it?
It is 10,000 Hours by Dan and Shay featuring Justin Bieber.
Who the fuck?
I have no idea who Dan and Shay are. I just know that this song is just super good, and I've actually cycled and repeated Justin Bieber's his verse that he has. Dude, it is okay. Dude, I don't have Bieber fever, but I'm telling you right now,
he's got talent, man. Dude, there's no way around it.
Yeah, I really love his voice, especially in that song. And even the one video that somebody caught of him when he was drunk, when they were doing an acoustic,
he was still fucking on point.
Yeah, and I actually pulled up the original song because I'm like, wait, I kind of like this. What is it? And I finally figured it out, and I'm like, oh, this is the version that they did of this. This is wild. It's really good. And he was hanging on by hairs at that point, trying to stay sober, and because he was just 3 sheets to the wind, but he still belted it out. Yep. So it's awesome. It's got a lot of heart to it, and it's just this idea of 10,000 hours. I would spend 10,000 hours just to be a little closer, or whatever. And it's I actually did look it up as to how long that is, and it's a while. It's when you think of how many hours are in a day multiplied for all the days in the year, and then what does that look like? It's definitely years. And it's just, I don't know, that song has always stuck with me. And it's, I actually found it on my Spotify 2020 Rewind because I'd listened to it so much.
Oh shit.
Point North, Into the Dark and A Million Pieces were on there because that's what, I was working on the middle and everything. So I was listening to those a lot.
Oh yeah.
So it's I was able to find a lot of different things, and I was like, all right, I'll dive back in, and I'm still in love with that song to this day. It's fantastic.
Okay.
So,
all right.
But yeah, for somebody on the internet to know me as a metalhead, and they're like, he listens to the Bieber. It's like, no, I listen to one.
Yeah.
So yeah. What's yours?
Mine is Justin Timberlake's "Cry Me a River."
Oh, dude, that's a great song.
Dude, it is, but like that's not like what I listen to, quote listen to, you know what I mean? But like I really do dig on some of that. Like it, I guess that's why I said it was like I kind of had to force it because I do like it. I'm not really embarrassed by it, but it's like, bro, I will jam out to that every once in a while, loud as fuck. Like when he nails that high part, he fucking nails that high part.
Well, dude, I think that honestly, if Timberlake was attached on anything, I would give it a listen. Like I gotta know. You know, it's like it's just because he has that NSYNC thing, you know, from the past. It doesn't deter me from being like, okay, you know, it's like, you know, am I just gonna, you know, just avoid this or whatever? It's like, no, like I'm curious as to what he's doing because he is a talented vocalist. All the guys in NSYNC
they really were. I mean, I'm more of an NSYNC guy over Backstreet Boys, but they were
really?
Yeah, they were both very similar for me, but I think it was just because of Justin Timberlake. But that's what I'm saying. Like that now, that's embarrassing. Like,
what's interesting is that's funny because I was the opposite. I was more of a Backstreet Boys guy. So
I remember, and that's why I think that's the reason why I had listened to the Backstreet Boys as much as I did because of you. So I had a big comparison on like some even like deeper tracks that you would play.
Yeah.
So it was odd, like how, because I forget who it was. Was it Aunt Chrissy? No, I think she was Backstreet Boys. Well, she was definitely New Kids on the Block. That was our era, but still, you know, they would play like the whole albums and stuff. So I would hear all of the NSYNC, not in just like the radio hits.
Right.
And that's how I would, you know, kind of get in and be like, oh, I like NSYNC more than, yeah. All right, I'm going to stop embarrassing myself. Let's move on to the next question.
So next question is from WizKid. And WizKid wants to know, what are our thoughts on aliens and UFOs?
I believe
100%. Yeah.
It's real. I've seen some type of a UFO in my life, like more than once, but I distinctly remember one with my buddy Jake, and you know, that was very interesting. So even back then, yeah, I believe for a long time.
Now, obviously without like revealing, you know, addresses or whatever, but I'm curious, like, where have you seen the most UFOs? Because you've talked about how you've seen shooting stars for years. And I saw my first shooting star, I think like maybe like what, a year ago or something?
Yeah, I think that's when you said, yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, you got to think, I always chalk it up to the fact that I'm a smoker and I used to smoke cigarettes. So I would be outside. And, you know, even with like headphones on, you kind of like, at least for me, I kind of always like looked up a little bit.
Yeah.
So I feel like I was always kind of gazing at the stars inadvertently. So I would see them. I would have to guess probably, well over a dozen in my lifetime.
Wow.
Like, well, like seriously, like no joke, like probably more. But so going back to the whole thing with like the UFOs is that's, I think another reason why I've caught stuff like that is I'm kind of always like weirdly paying attention, but it was relatively close to the house. Like it was where Jake lived. It was like behind him and we were laying on the trampoline. So it's more of like a like kind of back roads, like not a whole lot of light, so you can see things in the sky.
Yeah.
And we were just laying on the trampoline and we looked up and we saw these 3 perfectly round lights that came through fast as shit in a straight line, and then they made like a triangle.
Oh shit.
And sat there for a second and then circled around really fast, like it was buffering, but like all of the circles, and then took off like it hit light speed in like one direction.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, shit. Now it wasn't like super close to our face. Like they looked like, I'm trying to like one of the buttons on a PlayStation controller size, like to where we could see them in the sky.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like something probably along those lines. Like you could see it. They probably were big, but far away. It was crazy, man. Like we saw something. Like there was no mistaking.
So did you guys stay out there or did you?
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was like, oh God, we got to go inside. This is freaky. Or
no.
Like, you know.
So like it took off, and of course we were the only ones out there because Jake's mom and his stepdad at the time, they were in the garage. So everybody else that we were with that night, they were like off doing something else for a few minutes. We were just kicking it out there, and we're like, nobody saw that. We were the only ones. Like, of course. And dude, and I think I've still believed in aliens well before that, though. But it was just that was almost kind of like quote proof, if you will. Yeah, dude, it was weird.
I think that, I mean, my thought on aliens are in the same thing or same realm rather of, paranormal things, things I can't understand, something as terrifying, for me as the ocean and what's out there. Like we don't know what's on our planet. We don't know, truly like what is really like happening, like when we dream or like when we sleep or like whatever. Like there's so much ambiguity, I think, to life. And, I've heard it said before, I think Rogan may have said it, that, the universe is a beautiful mystery. And it's, we don't know what all is there. And I mean, I don't know if I would go with the mentality that they're either against us or for us. It's more so just in the idea of like, just, is there anything? And I mean, clearly, the government has already said, yep, they're real, and like, this is what's happening here. And I mean, take that for what it is. But I find that it's interesting just to see, like, just the way that the ships are described, and the fact that I think it was either Bob Lazar or somebody else that said that when he first saw a craft, or one of the times he saw a craft, that it looked almost like this material was building. And I think he described it as wax. And as we've understood it later, it's like, no, maybe it was 3D printing.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember hearing about that too.
It's stuff like that really just
because then when you think about
it,
you're like, they got the technology from somewhere all of a sudden. Like,
Well, it's and that's also the there's some jokes with it too, where one of my absolute favorite things I heard somebody say was Area 51 is just a cover up for Area 52 and 53. So like, and that's kind of how, like, it is funny, but like I do have that mentality on things like that, is that we think that this one thing is going on at this one place. And it's like, nah, man, I think that there's many things happening all around us all the time. I mean, there's talks of like people seeing things in New Jersey all the time and like things like that, where it's just, there's no denying that something is happening. And I think that, if you want to put aliens into that, or if you want to say that it's extraterrestrial in some way or whatever, I mean, sure. I mean, I think that that's, very possible. I think that we don't understand a lot. So.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think we understand anything really. Like, so
so hope that answers your question well enough, but
probably not.
Yeah, so Outlaw Charger 440 asks, what is the hardest part of becoming older or passing the threshold of added responsibilities, such as parenthood or getting a new house? I've always thought of this, like, I mean, I think I talked about it in the "How could you leave us" reaction when I said, I'm still, 9 years old. I just pay taxes.
Right.
And that's the thing that I think kind of freaks me out as being an adult, is that I'm trusted with a 2-ton vehicle that moves 80 miles an hour, or like does this, like I'm, expected to be responsible with this money that's being given to me, or all that. Like, it's weird. Like when you understand that it's like, wow, like I do have a lot of influence on what happens in my life now, like, my well-being, all that, like it freaks me out, where it's like, nah, dude, I still love Legos. Like, how can I be expected to, to build credit or to do these things? Like, I don't know dick about this, they didn't teach us that in school,
right?
So, but I think it's more so just kind of getting over myself in that aspect of understanding, like, no, I am an adult, even if I don't feel like it. And it's, and when you understand, we're like, oh yeah, when I pay my bills, nothing bad happens. Like, this and this, like it's, your life just kind of shifts. That's how I look at it. Very much.
I totally agree. But I think one of the hardest parts of becoming older is recognizing that you're getting older. So there's a couple points on this. And then as a parent, all the pressure is on you. Like, you have to, like, you got to raise your kids. You got to do it right. You got to be, by society or by this and that. Like, there's a lot of pressure on you. And, and then you want to give them things like you never had and all that cliche bullshit. But at the same time, you just want to be a good parent.
Yeah.
And nobody knows what that is. Nobody. Like that, there's no like real thing that like states that this is how you're a good parent. But so that, and then just the fact of knowing that you're getting older, like, man, I am going to be 40 in like 3 months. Dude, half the time I forget that until, no joke, when I'm like, fuck my back. Like, oh my God, but
that's the other thing is you start getting pain out of nowhere that
Right.
you never had before. Yeah.
And it's just like, I have to remember I'm not 25 anymore. I'm not 30. I'm not like, I know that sounds dumb, but it's the fact of I have to make sure that I'm not like destroying myself because I can't do those things anymore.
No.
Yes, I can hang out. Yeah, I could probably play basketball for about a minute and a half. No, but it's just like, no, it's just the fact of recognizing that. And it is hard because you have to be like, dude, calm down. Like, you know what I mean? You're not this young buck anymore, but
yeah, you can't eat like a kid anymore.
Right.
Like, dude, I
know that sounds funny, but like, no, that's the God's honest truth is
Yeah.
that it's just recognizing that it's fucking crazy. It's awful.
Well, it's I had a night that I actually was like, oh yeah, like I'm super hungry and it's super late and I shouldn't do this, but oh my God, I can't go to bed without eating something, which is the worst thing that you can do for like trying to stay fit or whatever. And I had a bunch of pizza rolls and made like some buffalo like ranch stuff to dip them in. Like, dude, I'm a fat ass dude. I woke up the next morning with the worst heartburn.
Oh yeah.
And it was the first time it actually was like a severe thing where I was like, oh my God, like, do I need to take something for this? Like this is bad.
Welcome to the club, man. It's just going to get worse. And I think that's the other thing too, is that like, I kind of like lightweight work out a little bit. It's not even because I want to be buff. It's to just like keep me going. Like,
offset all the bad things.
Yeah.
What's like even like Anthony Bourdain doing what he did. Like I think he like still drank and still did his thing, but he worked out all the time.
Of course. Like that's why he could drink. Like he worked out so he could drink and eat like shit.
So, okay. Lycan's wife, Lycan's actually been a part of a lot of the questions that we've been doing. She's always got a lot of really good insights and cool things to ask. And this one's actually kind of simple, but I think there is a lot to it. Is where do you hope to be in 10 years? Career, family, life, society.
So
10 years from now.
This is going to kind of probably maybe suck for an answer, but this is how I feel. I don't know. And I kind of like that. I think that's exciting. That is something that, of course you have plans. Like, you want the YouTube channel to be great and like, this and that. Like, no, that's just whatever. But like, as far as like the career and family, like, I don't know. Like, of course we want to move and like get a house and like all this stuff. But other than that, we just enjoy life. Yeah. And I think that I've been doing that a little bit more lately, that where I'm not so focused on having these certain things like that. I grind for the quote career as far as the YouTube and stuff to make sure everything is going correctly. I make sure that I pay attention to my girlfriend and the kids and my, my children and stuff. Like, you do have to focus on things, but I'm kind of just letting it be right now. Mm-hmm. And I like that. I don't have like this other anxiety of like making sure I get something like that, like a goal or something. And I know that, I'm not saying that I'm not goal oriented. It's just like, I don't know. I think that maybe falls into the whole like getting older. You kind of just don't give a fuck anymore. But no, it's just, that's the exciting part, is that I think I don't know yet. So sorry that was kind of a like bitch of an answer, but
no, I mean, again, you can only, talk about where you are. And I think that, 10 years is such a magnitude of time to take in, where it's like, no, like that's a lifetime. Like so much could happen.
It is.
It's like I could be in a different country at that point, or like for whatever
probably be
reason.
dead.
Like, I hope not, but it's then again, it's like we could eat some bad sushi, and then that's what kills Riker Road. I don't know, like it's weird. In the next 10 years, I would like to finish my script. Definitely. I would love to be able to run efficiently what we do out of a house that has specific rooms that are meant for those specific things. That way it's like, nah, dude, we're going in the podcast room. Like, no, like we're going into the reaction room. We're doing this or whatever. I'm in the position where I'm not with anybody, and I like that. I don't have to worry about having kids or things like that. Like I'm very fortunate where I'm at. There's nothing to entice me to that type of life. I've had a taste of it, and I just had to understand. I'm like, no, like I need to do what I'm good at, and I am not good at these things.
Sure.
I need to, just pursue what I want to do. And, again, like, from what we talked about, before, is take every negative and try to make it a positive in some way, and that's how I'm trying to look at the next 10 years of my life, is that, Lord willing, that I'm still here in 10 years and that everything, is working the way that it is. We're still doing reactions. Yeah, I would love to.
Man, do you think they're going to want to see me at 50-year-old man doing reactions?
They're going to want to see you when you're on your deathbed and you go, ha, 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 because you're laughing, so, but, yeah, I've got, big, movie ideas. I've got, different, scary story ideas and, huge projects I want to do with my friends and the people I want to meet, the places I want to go. And, I think that if anything, if I can just look back, 10 years from now and go, I did a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of cool things happened. And even our buddy Mike, who's from the UK, and he's a part of our kind of YouTube friend group. He said something really interesting, is that he said, I think that what I mainly want to do is just be remembered. No matter what I'm doing, let them remember me. It's like that. I think there's something very powerful about that. I mean, I think it's in my personal opinion, I look at it where it's like, well, when you don't focus on an afterlife being the next thing, it's like, well, the only thing you have is your legacy,
right.
what you want to leave. So, I think I want to have both. I want to, be able to know that I can, eventually pass on one day, and that, everything is fine. And I can, finally have that moment of like, oh my God, it's finally over. I'm done. But also being able to look back and go, nah, dude, I did a lot of really cool stuff with a lot of really cool people. And the time that I was given, I used wisely. And I think
that's part of the reason why, like, I don't have anything like that, is that, the YouTube thing was kind of like my vision, and it's happening. So I don't, like you said, you have like your script and a couple other things. Like, I've kind of already, quote, fulfilled some things at the moment. That's why it's like that whole like kind of autopilot. Like I'm loving life. Like, but I think that's the cool thing of the two differences between us at the moment.
Well, I think that you've honestly gotten to the point now that, I mean, take this for what it is, but you're essentially like Snoop Dogg. You're just doing side quests now.
And I was going to also, but I was going to also say the fact of there is a little bit of an age difference between us. So it's like, who knows by the time you're 40 that you're not doing the same thing already, but would almost come up on the 10-year mark though.
It would,
but anyways, okay.
So, like, a fantastic question.
Yes.
Thank you. Let's see here. So JT anxiety. I don't know if this is the same anxiety from the top or if whichever. I mainly just looked at the questions and was driven by them. But this is an interesting one. JT anxiety wants to know, what do people misunderstand about you the most? That's an interesting question, because I had to kind of play what it's like to see me from a perspective that I don't see myself, which is very interesting when you try to do that.
It is.
It's kind of like that mentality of, stop obsessing about what people around you think, because I can guarantee you they're thinking the exact same thing.
Right.
Their focus is not on you the way that you think that it is. And I think that it's interesting that I am very hyperactive. I am, very random. I, probably have undiagnosed ADD or ADHD or whatever. But I think that what some people may misunderstand is that I'm at that full 10 all the time. And it's like what we do in our videos and, the things that we say or how we act and everything is that, I'm sorry, like, I don't want to burst your guys' bubble, but it's like, we're not how we were in the Voices in My Head video the second we wake up. And like over like, oh my God, this milk, yeah, pour it. Like, so yeah.
I think your answer is almost kind of like how mine is.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mine is the fact that what people miss, that I'm always happy and that I enjoy people.
Right.
Now let me clarify is that, we've talked about depression and stuff before. Yes. What people see on camera is what we show people on camera and, on Instagram or whatever it is, yes, I have my moments and you probably have your moments as well. But like, even at work, when I was working and stuff like that, where people would see me like you have to be like that or people would just automatically, what's wrong? Yeah. So you kind of always have to keep it up. So this people misunderstand that like I'm just always happy. I'm not. I'm miserable half the time. I'm I've got anxiety about stuff. I'm constantly thinking about things that have nothing to do with the situation I'm at hand right now, like all of those things. And that I enjoy people because I work with people constantly. I fucking hate people. I fucking hate them. Like, and what I mean is the fact of like working with the public, not like hanging, like even sometimes hanging, I'm like, oh, people.
Yeah.
Like,
Dude,
I'm an introverted extrovert. Like I want to go do things like that sounds cool, but I'd rather just sit at the house and do nothing.
The idea of it is better than actually doing it.
Correct.
Yeah. And that's so tough too, because I think that it's, the isolation thing. I mean, again, we've talked about it before, but the whole idea of COVID where it's like, no, we got conditioned for so long.
Yeah.
Like everybody that was upset that, they were secluded. It was the best fucking time I had had in a long time.
Facts, dude.
I didn't have to go anywhere. I didn't have to do anything. Like, it's because like, even for the 2 weeks that, I was home and working, it still was just like, no, dude, I was at home.
Yeah.
And what I was doing at that point, like it was recutting things and there was still effort that had to be put into those things. I'm a videographer for anybody that doesn't know, but it's like, I had my whole setup here and everything. And it's like, I was able to work. And like, when I was finally done with work, it was like, okay, I'm just going to play Doom Eternal.
Right.
Like, it's just like, that was the best time to be a
awesome.
gamer. And it was just like, I got to shut off from the world for a little bit and pay attention whenever it was necessary. And I think it's conditioned us now. And I find that whenever I'm able to go do things and see people and everything, it's the best. Like we have a lot of really cool people in our lives. And, even sometimes when it does take effort, because I know what it's like, the same way, like being in your head and you're not at this party right now. You're not at this dinner.
Right.
Like you're there, but you're not. And
exactly.
it's being able to essentially kind of, hit your own temple, mentally and be like, dude, pay attention. Something cool is happening.
Yep.
So
yeah, no, and it's true, man. Like it's just, you get comfortable in that.
Yeah.
And that's what's dangerous.
Let's see here. Siggy wants to know, when you guys were little kids, what did you want to be when you grew up? And if you remember, was there a reason that you wanted to be that? I ironically wanted to be an astronaut when I was a kid. And
Even though you hate space.
Yeah, well, I've gotten better about it. Like I was able to throw on the Oculus today and do the ISS. Like I'm not like, the blubbering idiot that I, would have been, however long ago. But I don't know. Like it's just, there was something about it where it was like, I think I liked the idea of being an astronaut rather than actually doing it.
Sure.
And especially even, watching The Big Bang Theory and like, I understand it's a TV show, but like Howard's like a scientist and like, astronauts are very, very intelligent and like, and it's like they're there for a reason.
Yeah, I was like, he got picked because of exactly.
So it's just, that was my biggest thing for a while was that, I would just think about space. I'm like, oh, like this would be so cool. And, clearly that has not happened. So the schooling, it's like they kept making me, take tests, so no, but.
And they kept making me take tests.
So I've never been to school for that, but no, so that was my thing. It just sounded like it would be cool. And then kind of when I came to, that's when I, started playing guitar and doing my thing.
Yeah.
And, I was ministry focused at that point. And that's
that is true. I always forget about that part of your life.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Mine was a chef. Like I wanted to be a chef, and it was just because I don't know, food. I saw what food did for, even at a young age, like what food did with people, like, probably like Thanksgivings and Christmases and stuff like that, with the gatherings and the big meals and everybody happy. It was cool. Like everything smelled good. Everything tasted good. It was really cool how things were made. And I wanted to know. Mm-hmm. And it would be between, even mom and mama and a couple, my two grandmas. Like I kind of got to watch very different people, but like the OGs of their like thing and like do that.
Yeah.
And I learned different things. So then as I got older and then was going to school, when you could take like home ec classes and like all that stuff, and that's what you did. Oh, I was all over it. I mean, hell, I went to school I went to the Le Cordon Bleu college in Pittsburgh, but I don't do that now because, the restaurants and things that I worked at, over time, like it's not an easy business. It is hot. It is stressful. It's right fucking now. And that's fine. And I was fine with that, but I never really got into the higher end food, and it just wasn't worth it anymore. I'd been doing it for so long, and like I just felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. I wasn't going up the ladder. I wasn't having my own restaurant or diner. Like and it killed the passion. And I'd still joke about it to this day, but it's like, I cook so little anymore like that I swear, like, my cooking is horrible compared to what it used to be. Like, I know it's edible, but it's just like, man, I know I'm better than this. And that's what upsets me. And who knows, maybe with this time that I have off now, maybe that'll kick it back in and maybe I can start who knows, but it's just, at the time, that's all I wanted to be. And I wanted to be it for years. And dude, it was just, nope. Fucking one day I was just over it. Like right fucking now.
What was the defining moment for you that you knew that you didn't want to do it anymore? If you're comfortable with sharing it.
The pay and time I got off work. Like the pay ratio was always decent, not great. And I was sick of being, because I was quote unquote good at my job. They wanted me that every restaurant and stuff wanted me there for dinner. So I wasn't getting home until 12, 1, 2 in the morning. And I'm like, man, fuck this. And I got, how much did I make an hour? Dude, fuck no. I smell like shit. You can't, even if I wash for 2 days, this grease ain't coming out. Yeah. Like, it's just, that was the stuff that like, that's where it was like, if I was doing something like, you know, not Hell's Kitchen, but like Gordon Ramsay's, you know, restaurants or things like that, where it's like worth it because of what you're doing or the types of meals that you're cooking. Yeah. Okay, fine. But no, man, it just, I was like, fuck Applebee's. Like, you know what I mean? Like, well, so, I mean, or wherever I was at, but
I think that there's, dude, being a chef is one of the most challenging things I think that you can do as a human being, because everybody needs to eat. And, and everybody, you know, wants to eat their way. And that's,
and they want it now.
Right. And it's, I think that it's, God, like, even to know that Gordon Ramsay himself has said it, like, I needed to take time off. I went and was a chef on a Carnival, like, cruise ship or whatever, like, or like whatever cruise he was on to work. And, you know, he's like, I had to really decide, is this what I want to do?
Right.
And, you know, there's, you know, the stories of, Gordon Ramsay, you know, crying, you know, from, you know, bigger chefs and things, where it's like, nah, dude, like, everybody has a breaking point. And I think food is something that people that stick it out and do it, even if it's on a small scale or a big scale, those are some of the toughest motherfuckers that are on the planet.
Oh, dude. They are.
Hands down.
They are. And that's the thing, is it's just like I said, it was just, I knew I could always handle it. I just didn't want to anymore. It was just like, this, like, it's not working, Eric, stop. And I kind of fell ass backwards into like retail and sales. And again, well, I fucking hate people, so good thing I'm in retail. But no, it's just like, I really switched gears like really fast. You know, I did that and kind of like construction / factory work. So I was all tattooed up and stuff. Even at that time, it didn't matter. Right. I wasn't going to work with the public in my mind. And boy, was I wrong. So
what's that fun phrase that says, I had a plan and it made God laugh?
Yeah,
so,
right.
All right. So Glitch actually has a really fun question. Depending on the length of this one, we may end on this one, or we may do another. But what is the dumbest / funniest thing your friend or friends ever did that stands out and still makes you smile or laugh to think about? Let me preface this with saying that you and I have some of the funniest friends on the planet.
Oh, hands down.
And just the things that have happened. And I'm really curious as to, on your end of things, like what you're thinking about.
So I'm going to make it quick, just because it is kind of a little bit of a lengthy story, but same guy that I saw the UFO with, Jake, and it was coming back from the same place that we saw the UFOs, going back to his house. Hit the microphone. Going back to his house because there was a wheat field in between.
Okay. Yep.
Now there was a path that went through because of the walking and stuff, because we actually helped this guy work on cars and stuff. And then that was just from the farmers and stuff. Anyways, so one night, everybody was over there, not the same night with the UFO, but everybody was like kind of over at this guy's house, and we're getting ready to come home. And it's like, I don't know, midnight. And we're getting ready to go back to the house. And we're me and Jake were a little drunk, a little high. We had smoked some weed. And so we're passing this joint. And his mom and the guy were behind us. And we're just like chattering, right? And all of a sudden I stopped and I looked over, and Kyle, I'm not kidding. The wheat was probably roughly waist high. The way the moonlight was hitting full beam on everything, all these acres. I looked at Jake and I was like, bro, am I freaking out right now? Does this whole field look like, and he goes, a bunch of cat heads? And I was like, yes, dude, he knew exactly what it looked like, little kitten heads poking up, every single one. Millions of them. We ran so, and what did we run for? Their kittens? Like, why are we freaking out? But like, first of all, it wasn't real, but we took the fuck off. We just heard his mom and him cackling because they were like, what are you guys smoking? Like, bro, we freaked out for probably 10 minutes. We're like, no, they were out there, and they're like, guys, no, there wasn't.
It was wheat.
Yeah,
You've seen it all the time.
Oh my God. I don't know what happened, how the shadows were hitting. It was fucking frightening, but funny at the same time. Like, that's definitely one of them.
Oh God, especially like, because I mean, you and Jake have a lot of good stories.
Oh,
of
for
just,
sure,
like, funny stuff. But I gotta say that out of all the things that you have talked about, that may be one of my, if not favorite things that you've talked about with Jake.
The cat heads.
It's just because it's so ridiculous, and the fact that like you both had that flight response of just go, you know.
Oh, we were out.
Oh God,
we were fucking gone.
Okay, so there's no shortage of things, and my God, there's no shortage of stuff I could talk about and the things that have happened with all of my friends. But there was, oh God, I'm not going to use names to protect everybody, but so we went to Acres of Fun. This was at a church event. Okay.
A lock-in?
Yeah, a lock-in event. And now, mind you, they had the doors open for like the golf courses and like the different things that you could do. Because I think they even had like those little like, bumper car boats that had the guns on them that you could like spray people and things like that. And it was just a good time. And I remember trying to get my ball to go into the hole. You know, it's like, all right, cool, we're here. Darn it. Darn it. Fuck. Like, I'm just getting so angry. Like, I'm forgetting that I'm at a church event. Right?
Yeah.
Finally get my ball in the hole, like maybe like 3 strokes over what I thought was going to happen. And I pick it up and I'm like, God, I suck at this. To my left was the golf course that I had just left. And this friend of mine hit the ball with such force. Like they were getting ready to tee off. Yes, there was a bunch of obstacles, but they were like, if I can just arc this thing, I can get it over all the problems. It's like, no, I'm just going to shoot it over. They whack it with all of their might, and this ball freakishly defied all physics, went up in the air, and it either hit them in the head and bounced off or like landed right in front of them. So they got mad, took their club again, whacked it. It finally sailed, ricocheted off a couple of things, and then landed next to the hole. And I'm like, oh God. This is working. Like, you know,
it's working.
They go over to it like me. Darn it. Darn it. And then they finally, I think in their mind went, fuck this, and just hit it with, again, such force. It hit the barrier, went upwards again, and just rolled right into a pond. I kept looking up at every try and just I was a shit friend. I was laughing my ass off. Because I'm like, dude.
Do I know this friend?
Oh, 100%. Okay. Yeah, when I tell you who it is afterwards, yeah. So,
I think I might know.
But dude, I just remember like just every time it finally
I'm a shit friend.
Seeing this red ball being illuminated because it was night. Dude, I saw it so clearly every time. Just just, it's just, I'm like, dude, you do not have control over this ball at all.
You suck at this.
This ball is manhandling you. Oh man, oh God. It was every once in a while, like it happens at the worst moments. Like what was that whole thing from the Green Mile when they're doing the test for the electric chair and they're cracking jokes? He's like, "Nah, man, just don't do that." He's like, "This is gonna be serious tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, do you ever think of something funny in church and can't keep it together?"
Right.
Like that.
Yeah.
That's
where it was.
That's been one of the many memories that has hit me when I've been in like board meetings or I've been like with very important people. And I'm like, "Oh, we're doing this right now." I was like, "Okay, that's bullshit."
This is what we're doing today.
Is that what we're going to do today? Fight? So, let's go ahead and end on this question. This is from Curtis. I believe this is one of our patron supporters. And this is actually a very fair question. And he wants to know, what is the amount of views that are considered a good video for you guys? 10K, 20K, etc. I've always wondered, what is the number that you guys are reaching for?
Well,
it's interesting.
It really is, because it kind of depends on the artist. And I know that's a shitty answer, but it does. But I would have to say, on average, if a video gets around 10,000 views in the first 5 to 8 hours, it's a good day.
Yeah.
Like that's a good day, because now it's just going to climb over time.
Yeah.
But then we do get those big hitters where it's like, holy shit, it got 40,000 views in 3 hours or whatever. Like, it does happen. That's not our average, though. That's not a good day. That's a fucking, oh my God moment. But yeah, average 10 to 20,000 within a 5 to 6 hour span, I'd say. 5 to 8, I guess.
Well, especially too, is that it sucks because the way that we gauge things is that we do pay attention to the first 8 hours, because that really is the most crucial time of when your video is being posted. And it's weird because even I checked it, Dreams by NF, that one did not perform like a normal NF video. Like the idea of people like checking in even on like, singles or whatever. We've had dips before, like it happens all the time.
Of course.
But I've checked it again. I think it's at like 15K now. So it's
right.
It's this
yeah,
idea.
now.
So it's like when we look back and we start to see things, we're like, okay, like this did take a minute, but it does make sense. Okay, maybe we can throw them in and try this. Like there's big hitters that we hit relatively consistent, compared to like, maybe other things. I mean, obviously, Blackpink is one of them, even though they've been kind of pushed to the side right now, just like with trying other things. We're going through a transition of, doing some gaming and trying out some different, ideas. But I mean, all the same, Blackpink, 21 Pilots, NF, I'm blanking on the other ones right now, but it's like we have
Stray
like
Kids.
Stray Kids.
Yeah.
Like there's these bands that or artists that we can listen to that we know that there is a very good chance that they're going to do well, and that essentially, like, if they do well, and we have a time like when Falling in Reverse does upload something and we get 100,000 views within the first couple of days, we can kind of try whatever we want for the rest of the week.
Correct.
We're not married to having the algorithm be it's like we're at its mercy so much.
Yeah.
And which it does suck, because there's times that, like, dude, I want to listen to all of Whit Lowry's stuff, dude.
Oh, I know.
And
I know.
That's one that I cannot listen to on my own because of how good the reactions and the video, and the music that he is doing. The video we get out of it. Like, it's just great.
Well, and it's also the fact on getting on something when it's brand new, because that can also severely affect of like what a quote good number would look like, because just because they're not always a big hitter, but when you throw something in where it's like, oh my God, it just dropped today. Yeah, Dax did get 50,000 views in 2 days because, well, we got right. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that, where it's like, oh shit, like you have to pay attention or listen to people when they're like, hey, this is dropping on this date or a new album's coming. Like it's weird, because the subscribers, the fans, everybody that watches, like, it's great because they really do come together for that purpose to kind of let us know. I'm sure they figure we see a lot of it, but it's a just in case. If you didn't know, this thing's happening, and that clearly helps our view count as well. But
yeah, definitely. It's tough because, guys, at the end of the day, we're still figuring this out. And excuse me, I think that because even someone at work the other day, they're like, well, you hit 100K. That's got to be quite lucrative. I'm like, it isn't what you think.
No,
it's the whole situation is like, with doing certain artists or whatever, like I've had friends of mine that are like, dude, like you got to do more Citizen Soldier. I'm like, we can't right now.
I wish we could.
Guys, that was such an emotional video. And we've even had emails and things that have happened where it's like, oh my God, like this is so cool. But at the end of the day, we have to run a channel, and it's like, it's just trying to make sure it's healthy enough and doing it. And, cause it's weird because, even AJR, who, their YouTube channel has over 3 million, subscribers. We didn't represent any of those numbers in the video that we posted with that. It's those that found it, or those that were searching for those reactions, or those that have their notifications on, and then those who have their notifications on, and even if they get them.
Correct.
It's
correct.
There's so much that's at play. So at the end of the day, 10K, I think, is something that makes me feel really good of like, okay, like there is something here. There is a lot of people, it's also fluctuating now, even with the norm of the analytics, because so much has changed. We had a lot of giving happen on some lives where that fundamentally changed revenue for a little bit, but then it went back down because it's
that's
going back
not
to normal.
that's not the norm. Exactly.
So it's all, a bunch of, chess pieces that we're always moving and we're always thinking about it. But that was a really good question.
It was.
I think that giving you guys some insight into that, this may end up being a clip. That way we can, at least if people want to know, like, hey, this is why we do this, this and this. So, but we'll see. But either way, guys, thank you so much for your questions. We appreciate you just, being here to the end. And Eric, is there anything that you would like to say to them before we officially sign off and, cut this off and just end it? Do you have anything?
Yeah, hurry up, because I want to play Resident Evil 4.
That's right. We're going to record that. Those episodes should be out relatively soon, depending on how everything goes. We're super excited about it. And
go check it out.
Yeah, guys, we love you. Thank you for being here. And we will catch you in the next one. Adios.